I've always been fascinated by Quilby's OmniChunk mod. Basically what that mod does is that it applies every change you make, every place or broken block, to every single chunk in the entire world, which allows you to do some pretty cool stuff like building infinitely large structures spanning across the whole world. Ever since I played that mod, I had this urge to make something similar, something comparable, something technical that would change the game to its core. After over 2 years, I think I've finally done it. So yeah, turns out I didn't have to think too far to come up with something interesting. I guess messing with chunks is just interesting, but let me quickly explain what you're even looking at. Essentially, I wrote a data pack that replaces every single chunk with a random other chunk in the entire world, resulting in this shattered landscape filled with these ominous spires. Every single one of these chunks exists somewhere in the world, but not only does the terrain change, even the biome that the terrain is pulled from is sustained, meaning that you can have a savanna next to a mushroom fields biome next to a frozen peak. And this is not only applied to the overworld but also to the nether and even the end. And the best part is that this data pack is technically still playable. You can explore the world, build a house, gear up, you can do whatever you want. With all of this being said, let's take a closer look at this in survival. Alright, so before we do anything else, let's just take this in for a second. Because all these chunks are pulled from different parts of the world, we just have these massive pillars everywhere. Like on top of this chunk you can see that there's ice, which means that this is from a mountain biome. If I turn on Mini HUD, you can see that we're actually in a plains biome now. This is actually a jungle biome, which you can barely even tell. Might actually not be a bad idea to get up there. If anything, it'll allow us to get a better view of this. So here we are, and wow, what a view. I mean, right now we might be in survival, but we're just taking a look at this. This is just a showcase. But I kind of want to actually check this out in survival, as in do an actual mini playthrough. So let me know if that's something you want to see. Look at that, we even got part of the village. Let's check that out. Okay, so as you can see, we have part of a village house here. Oh, yes, this can happen. So this torch has been copied over, but there's no supporting block, and so now it's just levitating. Oh, and here we have another oddity. So this right here, it kind of looks like snowy grass, except it has a gravel top. But this is actually the default top texture of snowy grass. So like right here it looks like snow, but that's because there's a snow layer on top of it. This is what that block actually looks like. But in normal survival you're rarely able to see it. But thanks to how these chunks generate, this is actually not that uncommon. Basically copying over entire chunks was just way too laggy. So instead I copy them over in sub-chunks, so 16 by 16 by 16 blocks. Which is still a little bit laggy, but significantly faster. That being said, this does have the side effect that sometimes stuff like this can happen. Honestly though, traversing this terrain isn't actually that bad. It's more so like a labyrinth, you kind of have to find your way around the tall chunks. Now, I do have a few more things to show off. Like for example the world border. The data pack is biased towards generating chunks near you, but you can at least get close to where the chunks generate. Look at that, that over there is just a normal savanna and you can actually see the chunks generating. Each chunk takes a bit over a second to generate because there's 24 sub-chunks in a single chunk. Minecraft runs on 20 ticks per second, so 24 ticks, which is 1.2 seconds. And because of that, you can actually get pretty close to this. Come on, just a little bit more. I guess it is kind of possible to escape. Oh, stuck in the ground. No, I'm trapped. Come on. So basically, you can escape, but you might die, so probably don't do it. Now, the overworld is good and all, but you might be curious about the other dimensions. What does the Nether look like, and how about the end? So, everything seems normal so far. I would recommend being... Oh, that's unfortunate. So this portal generated on the edge of a chunk, which means that this chunk replaced the portal. The chunk that you enter the Nether from, same goes for the overworld when you get back, as well as the end. Basically, that chunk stays safe. But that doesn't go for the chunks around it, so stuff like this can happen. Should have brought more obsidian, I guess. That being said, you can already see how this nether is completely ruined. So we got a crimson forest over here, then a soul sand valley. There's actually a nether fortress. Blaze spawners are actually really rare, so let's hope that this nether fortress has one. Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. That being said, let's fly around the nether because this is actual hell to traverse. Yeah, look at this, it's almost like a maze. Also, don't mind these cursed fences. Now look, I know that the Nether might seem completely awful. And you're right, it is. But at least the Nether roof seems completely normal. So that's a plus, I guess. And hey, if you want to make a specific farm, you don't have to go far at all to find the biome you need. Now, here's the thing about the end. There's only 128 strongholds in the world. And if I recall correctly, there's several trillions of chunks in the world as well. So the odds of finding an end portal in survival are pretty much zero. So if you do end up playing this in survival, maybe add some way to craft end portal frames. But it is kind of a shame because the end is actually really cool. Let me show you. So you spawn as per usual. And this is terrifying. It just takes away half the platform. So let's just wait for a bit and see what happens to the end. So now that we waited for a bit, let's see what the end actually looks like. Yeah, this is a mess. Which, to be fair, every dimension so far has been a mess. But what I really love about this data pack is that every dimension was a mess in a different way, I guess. So the overworld was a mess because of the height differences as well as the different biomes. The Nether was a mess because it's a cave system and so it's almost impossible to navigate. And this is a mess because there's just a bunch of void. Because remember, most of the end is just void. And then occasionally you have these islands, which are honestly not that bad to traverse. Like sure, there's a few gaps here and there, but they're not as massive as in the actual end. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the end fight. So the Ender Dragon is just floating down there. And the end crystals are actually still here. I mean, it's the same in concept, there's just no obsidian pillars, the terrain is completely different. When the Ender Dragon perches, it will just go down to the bottom of the world. And I actually think this could be a really interesting fight in survival. And I mean, for the most part, this video has been a showcase, so why not have a little bit of action? Alright, here goes. Now, for those of you who've seen my last two videos, this is just the normal Ender Dragon fight, not this absolute monstrosity of a buffed Ender Dragon I made. That being said, I think this terrain is enough of the challenge. I don't actually know how to get anywhere now. I guess we need Ender Pearls. Alright, we probably want to get over there. That's another End Crystal down, and another one. Okay, I gotta be honest, I love this Ender Dragon fight. Like, having to deal with the terrain as well is such an interesting way to fight it. Alright, that's all the End Crystals gone. Damn, this is surprisingly easy. I gotta be honest though, it does feel weird to fight the default dragon again. Like, what do you mean this dragon doesn't have 1,000 health? And where are the meteors? If you don't know what I'm talking about right now, you should definitely check out my custom Ender Dragon fight. I'll make sure to link it at the end of the video. Okay, I have this really stupid idea. I want to get down farther, so I can more easily hit the Ender Dragon. Just a few more hits. Oh no, oh no, oh no, that's bad, that's bad. Oh no, I guess that's the fight then. Honestly, not sure what I should have done in that scenario. I guess that means we lost? That's crazy though, that's the first time losing against the Ender Dragon in one of my challenges. Oh come on, not again! Well, I guess if I do end up playing this in survival, I'll have another shot at a rematch. Yeah, we kind of neglected to take a closer look at the end. Yeah, you can actually find entities pretty easily, but elytras might be a problem because entities don't carry over to other chunks. But with that being said, that's all. First of all, here's the link to the custom Ender Dragon fight I made, and also if you want to play this data pack, I'll have a download link in the description. So with that being said, thank you all for watching, and until next time, goodbye.